Make a perception check.
Yeah. That is 22.
All right. As you make your way down the hallway, you hear what sounds like a muffled female voice from behind a distant doorway.
I'm still...
Like a small cry in pain or worry.
Percy.
Oh, no. To stealth again, or am I already stealthed?
You rolled stealth before this whole
it was like 23
Yeah.
before. So I'm going to move toward that sound.
Okay.
Carefully.
You look delicious.
The central door there is where you hear the noise coming from.
Okay, I'm sticking my ear to the door and I'm going to listen for a full minute to see what I hear.
You hear a little bit of quiet and a light sobbing. Then you hear another voice, a male voice, an older voice, just say roughly, "Shh! You be quiet until you're told to speak. We should be close."
I want to gently try the door handle. Shut the fuck up.
It is not locked. It does turn.
I want to push it like 1 inch in and try to peek in.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Don't. I'm having deja vu.
All right.
No, we've been here before.
You glance inside the room, and you can see, kind of in the center to the back of the room, is an older gentleman wearing a breastplate. You can see his like very, very short gray hair, a little bit of facial hair that's grown in, but not to a full beard. It looks just like it's been left to go on its own for a little while. And he's currently holding a young woman, roughly early 20s or so, with dark brown hair with a couple of streaks of kind of white through the sides of the temple, holding her by her hair with a dagger to her throat and saying, "Shh. Shh. Now, when I tell you, you'll say what I told you to say. Got it?" And you just tears streak down her face. She's like,
I back up about 5 steps and very quietly say, Jenga.
I start running.
And I run at the door and I kick it open and throw it in.
Yeah! Well, that happened.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Well, that happened.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
God, so we take off running towards him.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes.
Jenga.
Dick.
It's a trap. It's such a trap.
Oh, of course.
He's behind her a bit, right?
Yeah, he's like holding her right there with the dagger.
You've got to have good fucking aim.
Well, I recently added the sharpshooter feat, so 3/4 and half cover means nothing to me.
Correct.
So I'm gonna aim for his eye that's peeking out the side. All 3 are going right at his eye. Oh, but it's surprise. So the first one is doubled because it's automatically a crit. Yes. 60, 78.
78.
For the first one. And 10 for the second.
I love you.
Okay. So 88 points of damage. You just went 80 miles per hour in your first round. As you kick the doors open, the first dagger, he sees it coming towards him for a second and attempts to dodge out of the way. And as he moves this eye out of the way, the dagger right into the other slot, and he screams out, "Ah!" in pain as it just plunges into his eye socket. Reaction to that, Cassandra screams out, "No! Run, it's a trap!" At which point, he takes his dagger and just runs it across her throat.
You seem to think this is a negotiation.
Don't!
I don't think it's her. It's not.
You just see crimson begin to pour down the front. Go ahead and roll initiative.
All right.
Also, at this point, as you throw the dagger, you're still in there at the doorway, and you hear what sounds like 2 sources of metal clanking together. You can't really, you can't see a source, but you hear other sounds in the room.
I am running at him.
Yeah,
and
go on in.
stabbing the shit out of him.
Learning nothing
Okay.
from the past.
As you cross this boundary, I need you to go ahead and immediately make a Constitution saving throw. So, as you step across the threshold of the room, the tile in front of you all of a sudden bursts in a flash of blue, painfully cold energy, like there's a concentrated moment of shredding ice.
To use evasion for that.
You can,
Yeah.
technically.
So if I succeed, I take no damage.
Correct.
Parkour!
Okay, so you take no damage. You dart across, just managing to use that momentum and your intensity towards this horrible moment that just happened before you, and you feel the explosion happen behind you. You just managed to pass beyond it. So you rush forward to him, and he's like dropped her to the ground now. She's fallen onto her hands and knees.
So she's still alive.
I'm going into his guts.
So as you rush up to him and just like shank him repeatedly in the sides, the breastplate's deflecting part of the blow, but you're managing to find openings in the side, and you go for a shoulder and jam it underneath his arm, like through his ribcage, and he screams out, "No!" in pain. And you can see there's like blood pouring out the side of his mouth. And he still has the dagger's returned now, but there's this giant, gaping, bleeding wound on the side of his face where one of his eyes is completely ruined. He looks both surprised, angered, and very, very confused about the way things suddenly happened.
Hello.
Hello there.
He's gonna go. God damn it. All right.
Well, we're waiting.
There were two sets of armor, decorative armor on the sides of the wall that suddenly have filled with some sort of reddish arcane energy that gives them a solid physical form, and they both stepped off their pedestals and begin making their way towards you.
Rise, armor of old, and greet our guests.
But before all that happens, Professor Anders in front of you, wounded and not looking terribly happy at the moment, is going to attempt to cast confusion on you. He goes to step back and and just releases his hand in front of you as a 20. The effect shrugs off. Takes a bonus action, he steps back.
Come, take this inspiration to defeat my foe!
And he lends an inspiration
bard?
dice to one of the armored creatures stepping forward towards you. Both these armored creatures pull out swords, and they lift up the shields that they had at their side, and they rush into you. So the first one is going to attempt to strike you with 2 of attacks of its longsword. 14.
No.
Second one is a 17.
No.
All right. The second one now is going to go ahead and take 2 swings at you. That is a 18.
Yeah, but I'll use uncanny dodge.
To reduce the damage by half?
Yeah.
13 points of slashing damage.
Half that, okay,
So-
I'll say 7.
There you go. 24 to hit.
That hits, yeah.
12 points of slashing damage on that one. Now to Cassandra's turn. She is on the ground, like kind of clutching out as she's just spilling out her life essence onto the ground. She's clutching at her throat and is like, you hear that horrible sucking sound of her feeling her life drained from her.
Cass! Stay with me.
She is not unconscious, but she doesn't have long for this world. All right, that brings us to the top of the round. The rest of you guys are now rushing. You would all get to the end of this hallway, about there. Everyone else roll initiative.
What the hell?
Oh! Percy's pissed! Natural 20.
I Percy'd again.
He Percy'd.
Who got him that dice?
Golden
Just saying.
Snitch is
Thank
powerful.
you.
No, I was on group hug last week with somebody else's dice, and it was comedy.
It's just you, Taliesin.
Yeah, thank you.
You are the anti-Wheaton. Like,
I'm the anti-Wheaton. So
if you guys were to play in the same group, like all RPGs would fold into themselves and no longer exist. It's like the end of Time Cop. It would be terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so Percy, you're up first.
So as my bonus action before anything happens, I'm
Knock her out.
Punch her in the
I'm
fucking
going
face.
to tell her she lives. You show us where the entrance to the caverns are. You walk with your things. And run.
I have 1 healing potion left, and I'm gonna take it and stick it into this girl's mouth and empty it, and maybe drip a little on her neck as well.
Okay. As you take the potion, it's a messy process. You get most of it, or some of it like drips in the ground, but you manage to get it. The wound seems to close. All the blood kind of just goes away on the ground around her neck from the splashing of the potion. It just vanished entirely, and you can see she kind of
Good, that's good.
she's right on the edge, but she's looking pretty rough.
So I just step between them, and that's all I can do, yeah?
Okay, so you move into there. Cool, that ends your turn. Grog, you're up.
Dead sprint after Percy.
You're bounding down the hall. You kind of push past Percy and just rush in the room, and you see a young girl on the ground, kind of doubled over, like barely conscious. You see Vax stepping in front of one of these like weird glowing armored creatures, and in the back of the room there's a man with bleeding, gaping eye socket.
What the fuck did you do?
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party, pal!
All right, Scanlan, you're up.
I'm up. I run as fast as my little legs will take me.
You'll never catch me. Not when I shift into maximum overdrive. Hiya!
I will inspire Vex behind me. Arrows and bows they fire at our foes and kill them, and they make them ghosts. They won't let go. Arrows and bows.
As the beat hits you, you feel yourself a little
Wow.
more sure shot in any arrows you seem to fling.
Nice.
Take your D10 inspiration die.
Right.
Forearms go.
Professor Anders now is taking his turn. He sees this giant creature in the room kind of looming, and he goes, reaches up and kind of closes up one eye and goes, "You do this for me." And as he looks at you for a second, he kind of releases another spell, and you feel a familiar arcane grasp begin to curl over the back of your mind.
14.
14. Your brain, not tempered against these type of magics, and having previously failure before, you feel your will no longer become your own, as now you are an instrument of destruction controlled by one Professor Anders.
Oh no.
You have been dominated.
Damn it.
Oh no.
How would you like to kill your friends for me?
At your command.
I mean, it looks to you and goes, "Kill that one!" and points to Vax. And you look down at Vax with a grin, as now the bloodletting you've wanted so bad, your target lies before you.
Hulk versus Wolverine.
And he enters his turn.
Remember what he did to your beard.
Kill
Vox Machina.
Grog.
He wouldn't.
3 and a 4. Can't roll.
Whoa!
This guy just whiffs with both of his weapon strikes. This armor not as cool as you
You're
think.
sucking his energy.
I have your power.
Natural 20 on the next strike.
Oh, shit. You fucking spoke too soon.
2 natural 20s.
Damn it!
It was
Why did you
a miss and a natural 20 on the first attack, and then natural 20 on the advantage first roll of the second attack.
Damn it.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
so a total of 36 points of slashing damage. That ends their go. Keyleth, you're up.
I'm running like hell. Can I see Cassandra?
You do, yes.
Healing word.
Keyleth, hurry!
Please work.
That's your turn. Vex, you're up. Correct.
I can run all the way up.
You get about there, like right at the edge.
I'm going to run in.
You look in the corner, you can see these armor attacking Grog as axe forward. There's these two armored entities kind of floating in the air. You see Anders in the corner, clutching a hand over one eye with blood streaked on the face, a number of wounds bleeding out from the armor. Already been a rough take for him, and your eye slows down, and for the first time in a long time, you see on the ground before you, kind of clutching her throat, your sister Cassandra. And you look back up at Anders, and you feel the burning rage begin to billow up inside you. And as you walk in the room towards the center of the table, see now from outside of his sleeves, outside from under his coat, there's just blackish purple smoke beginning to just billow out from behind.
Son of a bitch!
We're all sons of bitches, Roro. You in particular, from that bitch who bore you.
Bonus, I pull off my hat of disguise, drop it on the floor.
Okay.
And I'm going to just unload at that motherfucker.
As you pull off the hat, your image shifts fully to Percy, at which point Anders kind of looks back and sees this source of smoke and glances over. His hand falls away as a moment reveals his eye goes wide. Percy.
Oh, for the love of God!
Oh, when it counts.
Oh.
Pew!
Aha. So, the anger and frustration, the rage inside you pull up your gun, and as you go to fire, the bullet gets caught in the chamber, and it almost ejects the entire barrel from the front of it.
I'm going to attempt to repair it really quickly. So I'm just going to sit and scream a little bit. And I'm going, so.
Okay, you can see that this whole, this moment here as the smoke pours out from the front of the gun, you yell out angrily, and there is this kind of unnatural bassy reverb from your scream that shakes the room, and Anders actually takes a step back from this and is like looking about the room and finds himself basically trapped in the far corner of his study. Max.
I'm going to use disengage, and I'm going to hop over Cassandra towards Anders and stab him in the other eye. 10 on the first, 10 on the second.
So he maintains concentration on the spell, but both daggers, you run up and just kind of stab him, this angry grunt under your breath with each stab, and you can feel like the armor itself is now warm with the pooling blood from the wounds that you gave him before. Grog.
So when you're dominated, is that being charmed?
Essentially, you have to follow his orders. He's not directly, specifically controlling you right now, but he told you attack him. So you have to use all the things at your disposal to now attack him. You step over Cassandra, kind of stepping on the back of her leg, and find your way right there.
Is he only after me? Faster! Kill them faster!
21.
Yeah.
26.
Both hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
18 for the first one.
21 points of bludgeoning and fire damage for the second strike.
I am on my feet, but I am swaying back and forth.
Unexpectedly, these two titanic slams hit you from behind. The first one throws you into Anders for a second. Anders then pushes you away, and as you kind of are still reeling from the impact, you look up and see the hammer come down. Whack! You move your head at a time, preventing you from being squished, but the impact hits your shoulder and the side of your neck, and your whole body crumples into itself. You cry out in pain instinctively, just from the hit, and your whole world kind of blurs for a second as you're barely keeping yourself on your feet. Grog, that ends your turn. You can make another saving throw with advantage to try and shrug the effect.
19.
19. With that, the momentary controlled bloodshed fades. Your mind becomes your own, and what little bit of remorse you may feel for the battered Vax in front of you, you can't help but laugh a little bit, but then you turn your attention to the one who bent your will, and your rage begins to swell up inside you. So that ends your turn. Scanlan, you're up.
I continue my long journey into the room.
Just get past there. And you can see into the room. You have visual on, pretty much everything in the room from there.
What do I see? Can I see how rough Vax is? Can I see?
At a glance, it's kind of hard to tell from this moment.
I'm bleeding out my mouth.
He's also facing away from you.
Looks
He's facing
normal to
Anders.
me.
You see Grog and Vax facing off the guy in the corner. You see two of these large armored entities that are...
Okay, I'll go for them.
Okay.
Wand of magic missiles.
Releasing the wand, and both flicks of your wrist, you can see these bursts of arcane energy swirl around and slam into each one of these creatures. All right. The impact, you see the armor kind of shake for a second and look angered and frustrated for what a faceless kind of arcane entity within armor could, and both heads just go and look in your direction simultaneously.
Oh boy.
That ends your turn.
Oh, and I will inspire Grog. This is the dawning of the age of a groggius. Age of a groggius. A groggius.
10.
The words are lost on you, but it's a nice theme. You take D10, yeah.
Not quite my jam, but I'll still take it.
All right, that ends your turn. Anders is going to attempt to cast Dimension Door.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna do that.
Do I see him?
Yeah, you see him.
Do you have counterspell?
I take out my broken shawm, and I cast counterspell on him.
Right, because you took that with your last
Okay,
level.
that's right.
Yeah!
Smart.
All right. Oh,
Get away.
Lord Bards. Shit. All right. With that, he takes a moment to finish casting. You see, there's a moment where this bit of purple arcane energy, familiar to most of you as Scanlan's escapes, begins to sparkle behind him. And as he goes to step into it, the Sham streaks out in the room. He kind of reaches up and covers his eye as it almost seems to like be shrilled to his head and cause the pain to pulse. And the doorway just slams behind him, and he's.
That door is locked, motherfucker. Get used to it, because I am.
Come to my aid! Quickly! He's gonna put another inspiration die to the other armor. That's gonna end his turn. It's now their turn. This one's just gonna move around Grog. No attack opportunity because it's still in your melee. This one's gonna turn and go for Percy. He sees this billion as you're stuck there trying to fix the gun, and she's rushing towards you with its shield forward. It's like a horrible, jagged longsword in the air arcing towards you. 2 strikes versus you. First strike, you take 9 points of slashing
Down.
So you go down. Second strike, because it's still going for you, hits automatically. It's an auto-critical. You fail 2 death saving throws.
That's it?
This one is now going for you, Percy. First strike, 18.
18?
Yep.
That's my armor class.
Bards! Sorry, I don't get to use them very often.
So 19 points of slashing damage total.
That ends their turn. Keyleth, you're up. You just see him get slashed from behind, fall to the ground, and you see it raise a blade again and like jam it into his torso, pull it out, and there's a streak of blood that just spatters across the ceiling from the force of the arc.
First, I'm going to, God, I'm so nervous. I'm going to use Healing Word on Vax.
Yes.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Grasping Pine.
So out of a crack in the wall, a little bit of material begins to form into a giant vine that forms next to you. What are you doing with it?
I want to wrap it around Cassandra's feet, or like her ankle. And I want to pull her toward me.
You pull her over to the side, and she kind of gets pulled across the ground, and she's like on her back now, looking up. Her eyes are a little starry-eyed, but she's like, looks very confused, and is like her eyes are still adjusting to the whole circumstance.
And I say, "Hi, just hang on." And that's my turn.
Yep. All right, Vex, you're up.
Does it look like he's awake now to me? I mean, was it all happening
You
very
have no
quickly?
idea. This happens very quickly, and you just saw your brother like get.
I scream and I run towards him, slide across the room, and try to like cast healing words the minute, or cast cure wounds the minute I get.
With that, you rush forward, just seeing like this tunnel vision image of Vax on the ground, blood pooling under his form. You dart forward, slam on your knees, and begin preparing the spell as you skid across the stone floor of the study.
Deja vu, I've just been in this place before, higher on the street.
You reach out and your hands meet his form, kind of stopping in the process just as the surge of healing energy jolts through his body, so you can go ahead and cast it on him.
That was the worst roll! 9!
So you heal 9 hit points. Percy, you're up.
First off, I'm gonna fix my gun.
So as you sit there with the creature lemming at you, reach down, you manage to bend it back into place. You get it aligned as best as you can. So your gun's functional, but that's your action.
I'm gonna use an action surge anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Ah, yes, you are. Okay.
I'm gonna break off from this guy, and I'm gonna rush towards Professor.
You get right up to there, and you can see Anders now like backing away as you approach. Like
I'm gonna unload in him.
Eye.
21 to hit.
That hits.
25 to hit.
That hits.
That's natural 20.
There's Percy!
What the fuck?
So
Anti-Wheaton.
it's 11.
Okay.
14.
Alrighty. This is the critical.
Yep, this is the critical, which is 20 with fire damage.
Okay. How do you want to do this?
Flattery will not prolong your life.
And yet it bought me all the time I needed.
How close to him do I get?
With that.
Godfathered him.
You were.
And this was out without smoke damage, I might add.
You can get one more step up there. You can like take the shots as you're stepping towards him, like unloading.
Oh yeah, I'm unloading as I walk towards him.
So the first one like blasts out the shoulder. You can see the bone kind of exposed. The metal breastplate just sundered by the bullet. As he kind of backs up, you, Percival, you disappoint us all. All you had to do was die like a good Dorolo.
Traitor! And I've got 2 more shots. Next shot.
This one into his chest, and you can see the actual breastplate bends inward to the wound, and he spitting out blood from his mouth as he bends forward. This land is a greater destiny. You and that fool Ripley, you place your faith in toys and dust. You seek the transient truths.
I pull. How close am I at this point?
You're stepping up to him.
Oh, look at it go.
Perfect.
And as you're doing this, as you pull the mask down in front of you,
pull the mask down.
He says, I die to rise again. We are his blood.
I put my gun in his mouth to shut him the fuck up.
And you betrayed us when we needed you most.
You're the face I saw when murder entered my heart.
You're the face I saw when murder entered my heart.
This is your doing, and I pull the trigger.
With that, a resounding blast echoes through the room. The back of his head just scatters across the wall behind him. The top of his head kind of folds in a little bit from the now lack of a substantial base, and he just kind of tumbles backward, releasing the gun with a limp onto the ground behind you. You're still holding the pepper box in front of you, hands shaking. As you hold it there looking at it, you can see there's a flash of purple energy across the barrel that has Anders' name across it, and the name burns away, leaving the barrel blank. Smoke begins to subside a little bit. It's still there, but it seems like the moment, it has this kind of release aspect to it.
So I get up close and they're like 5 feet away, and then I'll just thunder wave him.
Okay.
Yes. I do like that thing where frat boys do like the chest bump.
Like come at me, bro.
Yeah. Ugh.
And he's pushed over the table and like tumbles over, and then would fall over if it wasn't now drifting above the ground a few inches and kind of rights itself, but it did push away from you. So roll 2d8 damage.
I did. It's only 9 points of damage.
9 points of thunder damage against that helmed creature.
As we bid adieu to Professor Anders, young Percival yet again crosses another name off his list. Professor Anders, do you have anything to say for yourself now that you're departed this mortal coil?
The joy in watching the Dorolo child reach a painful end. Cheers!
Yep, he's a giant douchebag, and nobody will miss you. Since I've started this series on the Legend of Vox Machina, I just want to say thank you to all the new and returning people that have taken the time out to watch these videos. I know sometimes it can be hard to be competitive here on YouTube, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and look forward to seeing many of you in the future. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, I'm asking you to please smash that like button like it's Professor Anders' face. Feel free to comment down below or subscribe to your boy JudgementFish. I know it would mean the world to me. Stay tuned to the channel for more Vox Machina goodness, some gaming content, and other oddities that spring forth from my brain. And as always, my name is JudgementFish, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.